Hello, my name is John Timms. I'm the artist on the Aquaman series. Welcome to the 11 o'clock comics podcast.
Hello, folks. Welcome to 11 O'Clock Comics. This is episode 1011. I am one of your hosts, David A. Price, and with me is the returning...
Indeed, it is I, back from my triumphant trip. It is Prince Mamuwalde, but you can call me Blacula.
I could call you Blacula, but instead I think I'll just call you Jason Wood. Welcome back. Glad you're back. Hope you had a lovely time abroad. And we will hear about it in 1 second, right after we remind you all that this episode is brought to you by our really good friends at cheapgraphicnovels.com. Max said that according to the latest email, this past Black Friday sale was, well, I don't want to misquote, it may have been one, if not the best, one of the best, most successful Black Friday sales in recent memory. So they are working on getting those books packed and shipped out to everybody. I have a couple on my way. One of them that I believe Jason will be talking about tonight. So I'm really stoked. So I'm super excited for that. But not only was last week's sale fantastic for them, we of course have this week's new releases, and the Slacker's got a few curated selections that we posted there, but I wanted to save some for you all, such as Creepy presents Alex Toth's trade paperback for $17.49. A brilliant creator who wielded a dynamic, minimalist style, Alex Toth is considered a master in the fields of comic book storytelling, animation, and design. With Creepy presents Alex Toth, all of his vibrant and thrilling stories from Creepy and Eerie are now collected in an affordable, oversized paperback. With an introduction by Douglas Wolk, this collection of timeless tales will thrill, educate, and excite fans of horror comics and stellar illustration work. Major collaborations with Archie Goodwin, Doug Munch, Carmine Infantino, and others are included. You also have DC Finest Superman, the Invisible Luthor trade paperback. Metropolis is under siege by an invisible assailant who is holding the city's water supply for ransom. His price, $100 million. Can Superman discover the crook's identity and stop him before the city gives in to his demands? Read this tale plus other adventures in which the Man of Steel must battle giants, secret spy rings, organized racketeers, and other criminals to keep Metropolis and its citizens safe. Collect stories published in Action Comics numbers 26 through 40, Superman numbers 6 through 11, New York World's Fair Comics number 2, World's Best Comics number 1, and World's Finest Comics numbers 2 and 3. And finally, the new Teen Titans, the Judas Contract Deluxe Edition hardcover 2026 edition for $17.99. The Secret Origin of Deathstroke, a traitor in the Teen Titans, the introduction of Nightwing, and the death of a member. Celebrate one of the greatest Teen Titans stories ever told with this oversized hardcover deluxe edition. Fully remastered, experience the story that rocked DC Comics and changed the Titans forever. Collecting the new Teen Titans numbers 39 and 40, Tales of the Teen Titans numbers 41 through 44, Tales of the Teen Titans annual number 3, and pages from World's Finest Comics number 300. I think they also may have forgotten that it is the retirement of Kid Flash in this collection. So yeah, that happened because obviously Robin, Dick, and Wally retired from the Titans at the same time. It was a great minimalist white cover where you see the back of Dick and Wally walking away from the reader with their costumes strewn about. And then shortly after that, of course, Dick Grayson returns as Nightwing, while Wally stays retired and refuses to run because his speed is killing him until the mantle is passed when his uncle dies and he becomes the Flash proper, following the Crisis on Infinite Earths. But that's it for the specials this week. Thank you for listening. Jason, how was your trip?
Boo! It was fantastic. I missed y'all. It definitely was. Absence makes the heart grow fonder and all. I'm not gonna feel some kind of way that Vince decided to be on the show for a long time the week that I'm not on. That's I'm hoping that's coincidence. But hey, it is what it is. But no, man, it was great. We it was a pretty long trip. I mean, because of the way the Thanksgiving holiday break fell, we were able to do 10 days with really me only missing 3.5 days of work and Holden only having off essentially except for one day and a half. So that was great. We it was really like 3 trips in one. We started we flew to Madrid, but we went right from Madrid. Like we went from the Madrid airport to the Madrid train station, met up with Jackson and his buddy Max, who's one of his roommate at BU and also here in Madrid, was here in Madrid as well. We all met up there and then took a train immediately to like a 2-hour train ride to the wine country, sort of Spain's version of Napa. It's called Ribera del Duero, and it's really the home of incredible wines. It's it's not as famous as the Italian and French areas, but it's I mean there's some really world renowned vineyards there, and so we spent the weekend there. We stayed at a beautiful, absolutely gorgeous hotel in the nearby town called Valladolid, and then really spent the whole weekend just doing wine tastings. We had a nice private driver who was awesome, and we had set up Napa style a couple of wine tasting tours, and then it all culminated, which you saw pictures of, but it culminated in one of the 5 best meals I've ever had in my life. We went to a place called Ambivium. It's a Michelin star restaurant. It's actually a place that's built inside the center of Spain's highest end vineyard. The vineyard actually doesn't allow tours, but if you go to Ambivium, you can get a tour. But it was and you being new to the tasting menu, you'll appreciate this. It was a 16-course tasting menu. And we did a wine pairing, but unlike every other wine pairing I've ever done, which is normally like you get one glass for each course, this was multiple glasses per pairing. So in all we had 20. I believe we had 27 glasses of wine each for the meal. Now, obviously, these weren't full glasses.
Right.
They don't have you be on a stretcher. But it was absolutely just incredible. The meal took about 4 hours. Vince would have killed himself. But it was absolutely a delight. And then seeing how much my family and Jackson's friend enjoyed it. I mean, his friend was like, "Oh my God, this is the best meal I've ever had in my life. I can't believe you guys are taking me here." So that was awesome. It really sort of set the trip right. And then we spent most of the week, like the actual week of Thanksgiving, in Madrid. Beth and Holden and I rented an apartment in Madrid. Really nice modern apartment, fully appointed 2-bedroom place. And Jackson had class. I mean, because he's going to school. So we did the 3 of us did the touristy stuff without him. Did all the major museums and saw the palace and walked around and did some shopping. It's a cool town. There's tons of thrifting and all kinds of stuff. But Holden's super into fashion. He's really into thrifting and vintage, so it was great. I mean, we just did all that touristy stuff, and then had some really fantastic dinners with Jackson and a bunch of his friends are abroad with him. Took a bunch of his friends out to dinner each of the nights, which was great. And then the final leg of the trip was on Thanksgiving Day. We actually flew to Lisbon, to Portugal, and we did up Portugal for the last leg. So we posted up in Lisbon. And we also did a trip to Sintra, which is a nearby town that's historic. There's 3 historic castles there. It's very Game of Thronesy, but it's sort of one of the sort of the national places to see just beautiful countryside and beautiful architecture. So it was great, man. Just incredible meals, incredible wine, tons of laughs, and as you know, but the listeners might not. My laptop bricked on me on the second day of the trip. Literally wouldn't start up. tried a million different things. It was just the total brick. So it forced me to be far less plugged into the world, including work, than I otherwise would have been, even on vacation. So it probably was a blessing in disguise ultimately. So
Yeah.
it was great, Boo. It was great, man. It was definitely a trip to remember. The pocketbook is hurting. It was a really, really expensive trip. I mean, it was a very expensive trip. The
Yeah.
meals alone were enough for a couple months of mortgage payments. But yeah, it was worth it, man. You only live once, right?
This is true. This is true. Yeah, you can't. I mean, you can't put a price on the memories, obviously. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And you can't
it's
take it with you. You can't take
that's
it with
right.
you.
Yes, 100% to that. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously you want to save for a rainy day. You want to make sure things are taken care of. But as long as those things are taken care of, then you
Yeah.
can do those splurge and
Yep.
special events. And yeah, you're
For
right.
sure.
I we talked about it following Baltimore that it's a tasty menu isn't something that I would have considered a handful of years ago. But like you said, you only live once. You're getting older. It's one of those things where we're a lot closer to the end than we were to the beginning. So I want to make sure that we can all take the time
Damn
and
straight.
enjoy what we can. So
Damn straight.
I'm absolutely. I love that. I'm glad everybody had a great time. The pictures were absolutely wonderful. Definitely one of those. I didn't have FOMO, but it was definitely something where I know I would have had a blast. The
Oh yeah, it was
sights
great.
were amazing. The food diaries were great. So no, I definitely appreciate
Hmm.
you letting us all know how it was going.
Oh sure.
And I know that I know you could not have gotten a ton of reading done with all that hustle and bustle.
No, really didn't, man. Like I like best intentions, but honestly, between we were just going, 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 and then because we were just so busy, and also frankly we were eating such rich food and drinking so much wine that by the time we got back to the hotel every night, man, it was time to conk out. So but I did some catching up this week. I read a bunch of stuff in anticipation of my triumphant return to the pod, and also in celebration of conceptual continuity. Tonight I'm drinking a glass of wine from one of the vineyards that we toured. We toured the Bodega de Protos, which is another renowned vineyard in the region, known for their lush reds, their Tempraníos, which, as you know, is one of my favorite types of wine. And I have never seen. I mean, I've been on a lot of wine tours. I have never seen an operation like this. It was a fascinating tour. It was, my God, I mean, it's like it was amazing seeing, it was like the state of the art. It felt like I was in like a Mission Impossible compound. Like it was incredible, like how modern and scientific they are with the way they store the wines and the way that they ship them. It was really fascinating, and the tasting was great. But yeah, so we took advantage of the nice discount they offer when when you take a tour like that, and ordered a couple cases of some of their wines, and I am drinking one tonight. It's their Grand Reserve, Protos Grand Reserva, and it's amazing. It's a deep red Tempranillo 5-year-old wine. It's awesome. It's really full bodied, exactly the kind of wine I love. So and folks listening at home, this is widely available. Unlike many other vendors that we visited, which are not widely available in the U.S. The Protos is widely available. So I'm sure most of you listening, if you have a reasonably well stocked wine store in your area, I would be surprised if they didn't have some bottles of Protos, Protos, and don't know if they're going to have the Grand Reserve or not. But I would say we tasted all of their reds, and even like their baseline sort of $15 a bottle everyday wine is terrific. So I would recommend it. And if you see the Protos label, give it a try on my rec.
I definitely will. And I'm looking at the label. There's the way the typeface, the font for Proto. It's very similar to another wine that's also in that section where I'd find it in my local spot.
Hmm.
And I'm almost tempted to say that the wine that I've seen on the shelf is maybe trying to be a poor man's version of this, just because the label is very similar, and the way the label, the vineyard's name is similar in set as well. So, but this looks, yeah, I will definitely be keeping an eye. And it for those of you on the East Coast, or at least in the tri-state area, it does look like Stu Leonard's, for anybody who's familiar with that supermarket, does carry it. So I'm not near a Stu Leonard's, but if I am heading towards Yonkers in anytime in the near future, I'll definitely check it out. But yeah, I will keep an eye out for Protos. It looks great.
Nice. What about you? You what you drinking?
I was, as I mentioned before we hit record. I had a nice Malbec from Argentina, all set. I purposely did not open it last week for Thanksgiving dinner or anything like that, because I'm gonna save it, because when Jason gets back, I'm gonna be like, haha, look, I'm drinking. So, but I got to tell you folks, it is fucking brick out. It's in the low 20s right now. I know it's not as cold as it is in other places of the country. I know in the Midwest and parts north. I think like Minnesota, it was like, or Michigan was like 10 degrees. It's cold out right now. There's a bit of a cold front coming through. A lot of my packages that I'm expecting, I'm getting hit with delay notices because of the weather. So no, I am not drinking wine tonight. I needed to warm up a bit, and I am drinking my Michter's straight bourbon, very neat, no ice, not cut it with anything. I'm trying. I stopped short of the hot toddy because I don't need the caffeine right now, but I need to warm up, and that's what this bourbon is doing for me. So I'm thankful for my bourbon.
Ain't no shame in your game.
Yeah, I'm also thankful for some of the books that I read. This was I really had no intentions of this being an Image-O-Rama for me. Everything I have read from last weekend to now is currently published by Image. Couple of things have wrapped up, so I can talk about the final issues of those, and some things that have started recently and are in progress. But I am going to kick us off, I think, with I'll get this out of the way, so this way any disgruntles we can move past the first three issues of. At least, based on the story, I think it's a limited series, but everything it doesn't look like David and Maria are content with this being a miniseries. I know the trade has been solicited or announced, and it's going to be the 6 issues of this. So I don't know if this is a 6-issue miniseries or that's just the first arc. But anyway, I'm talking about Good is Dead by David and Maria Lapham, with colors by Di Cuneife, that's how I'm going to pronounce it. But David is your co-writer, artist, and letterer. Maria is the co-writer. D is on colors. The story takes place in Port Linden in the fall, in October, and there's two, basically, as I'm piecing things together, there's two families. There's the Calhouns and the Velades, and the families have been basically against each other for a long time. The sheriff of Port Linden he's a Calhoun, and his dad, according to him, allegedly, because I don't know if really we can trust this guy, the Velades killed his father, who was the sheriff. So he's just thinking about revenge, and his wife is kind of fed up with his whole not everything is their fault and you got to turn the page. Anyway, they pretty much run the Velades kind of run things. There's a bridge because it borders Canada. So obviously it's the Pacific Northwest, which is pretty much where the Laphams kind of tell the bulk of their stories. And there's one bridge coming into Port Linden. However, there's going to be a new bridge opening up because the old bridge that the Velates pretty much run is just old, shoddy. It's time for something new. So a new bridge is being built and constructed, and there's going to be a grand opening. But the bridge goes boom, and there's casualties and there's wounded, and of course the sheriff assumes that the Velates are behind it because they benefit from still only having one bridge. And all while this is happening, the sheriff has been poisoned. He's coughing up blood. He's coughing every other panel, and he's on death's door. He knows he doesn't have much time left, so he needs to make sure that everything he's doing, which obviously isn't above board and by the book, but he wants to take the Velates down before he goes. So that's his mission. He has a deputy who's new, and she has a bit of a backstory, and involving Homeland Security and the FBI, and so she's not exactly what she seems. The sheriff has a sister. Sheriff's name is David. The sister's name is Bobby. Bobby's got some issues, and she's very much like a mercenary. She's got the short buzzed cut. She's definitely got soldier vibes. She trusts nobody. She lives out in a cabin. There's landmines all over the place, so she doesn't want anybody coming near her. There's just it's a typical Lapham crime story where nobody is squeaky clean. Everybody's got dirt on them in some way, shape, or form. You can't trust anybody. There's ulterior motives out the wazoo. The typical 8 panels per page on most pages. There's the way they're weaving the backstory of this little town, of the families, of who you can or cannot trust. It's wild. I know that Stray Bullets at times was tough for me to get through. I'm not saying that I'll take my David Lapham when he's drawing Harbinger or Warriors of Plasma. I appreciate the growth in the stories that he's telling, he's writing, and drawing these days. But it is dark. It's not. You don't read a Lapham book because you want to feel good about life. These can be warped stories, and they're based in just enough reality where it can be uncomfortable at times as you turn the pages. There's violence, there's guns, there's bullets, they do crime and they do it well, and they don't do good people, and there is no good people in pretty much any of it. Even if it is a good guy, he's still got dirt. There's something back there that and whether now they're trying to do good because they've done dirt in the past and they're trying to make amends, whatever reason, whether they're trying to atone or that's just their life and this is the type of person they are. But watching things play out, it's very reminiscent of of one of those, basically not the subject matter necessarily, but the way the story is told, the type of story it is. It reminds me of one of those old Turner Classic Movie stories where there's no black or white. Everybody's got shades of gray. You don't know who to trust. You don't know who's being forthcoming. You don't know who's being honest. And it makes for an interesting read. It makes for a very it's an entertaining read because you're not, even if somebody presents themselves a certain way, you read a couple pages later and you find out what they've done in their past or what they have planned, and it's like, okay, so you're not the type of person I thought you were, and that that keeping you guessing, that anticipation, keeping you on the edge of your seat because you don't know which way the story's going to go. You don't know who's going to who may be double crossing who, and it's. I like that it's not. I can't guess. I have no idea where things are going in this book, and I'm not mad about it. But the first 3 issues, every issue I'm thinking, okay, well this is the issue where the sheriff just finally croaks. But the man's got perseverance. There's this one character who keeps popping up. He wears a brown leather. I think it's a brown leather jacket with the kind of the faux fur. Fuzzy collar and a black turtleneck. He wears dark sunglasses at times, and he'll just pop up randomly in the back of a panel, or he'll walk in front of a panel as another character is talking. No idea who he is yet, but he just seems to be wherever something is happening. He's not the storyteller, but he's involved somehow. Don't know how yet. But I love little things like that. That you're just, if you, as long as there's a reason why, even if it's just like some pelican with a fish in his mouth sitting at the top of the motel sign. Like there's a reason why David drew a goddamn pelican with a fish in its mouth and its beak. It's like everything exists on these pages for a reason, and I thought I'd just give the first issue a shot thanks to the image previews we get, but damned if I wasn't looking for the second issue right after that, and I binged them. I was surprised that I couldn't get enough, and now I have to wait for the 4th issue, and yeah, I didn't know where it was going with this. It kind of took me by surprise. I knew what I was. You kind of know what you're getting, but I didn't know where. I didn't know the trip that they were taking me on. So I'm liking it. I'm liking it way more than I thought I would, than I probably should. But yeah, Good is Dead is for me is that good right now. I'm hoping that we will get a solid, a fulfilling resolution. But yeah, right now, the way things are going, it's a hell of a ride, and I don't know who's going to be left standing. The sheriff won't be, but I don't know who else is not going to be standing when this is all said and done. It's a wild ride.
Well, listen, I mean, if there's one thing that Lapham knows is how to be untrustworthy and amoral, so I guess he really should know. So, yeah.
That's why I wanted to get it out of the way first.
No, I mean, yeah, that's cool. I mean, let's celebrate a guy who ripped me off. That's awesome. Happy Thanksgiving.
He's not Tony Harris.
I mean, he stole $350 from me, but that's cool. I mean, yeah, yeah. No, but I'll read his comic, sure.
Wasn't it?
No, I mean, listen, that's great. That's great. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Oh man.
No, I mean, listen, he's I've said it before. He's an incredible creator, but
yeah.
When you steal from me, I don't have anything positive to say.
You're not wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. So especially when it was against something that was pre-drawn. It's not even like I'm sitting here waiting for him to draw a commission for me. There was a piece in his gallery that was done, ready for sale, and I sent him the money, and he somehow has never mailed it to me. So, yeah, but that's cool. I mean, maybe he just, maybe he was short on his rent. Who knows? Maybe this book will get him square, and he can finally remember to.
There you go. How
to use the post office. Who knows? Cool. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, let's keep the train of love running then. Let's see. I introduced myself, of course, as Blacula for a reason, and that is because I read the wonderful hardcover collection of Blacula: Return of the King, written by Rodney Barnes, drawn, well, I should say painted, really, not drawn, painted by Jason Shawn Alexander. It's interesting, with this book, I think, and I have to go back, I haven't had a chance to verify this, but I'm 99.9% sure that I pre-ordered this when it was solicited through DCB service and never received it. Well, I guess if I did receive it, it's somewhere in a Regina pile in my comic room, and I never remember that I had it because I had pretty much forgotten that it existed, had never read it, and then was was doing a little perusing of our cheap graphic novels, Brohim, and looking for some things. And as I was looking for some things, I came across this, and I thought, oh shit! I'm like, this is out, because I hadn't received it, or I don't remember receiving it. So long and short of it is, I think if I'm right that I had originally pre-ordered it, maybe it got canceled, or maybe I just got they got allocated and I just wasn't allocated. But point is, I rectified that. I ordered a copy from CGN from Max. It arrived in a big old shipment of stuff while I was on vacation. A big glorious stack of book, and this was the first thing I read from the box. Needless to say, everybody listening that's not brand new knows I adore vampire stories. I in all forms, movies, TV, comics, novels. I read pretty much every vampire related comic that comes out. I'm a very easy mark when it comes to vampire stories. I enjoy vampire stories most of the time. Certainly, there's a sliding scale, but generally, it's an easy genre for me. I just adore it. So there's lots of ways you can skin the cat and give me a vampire story I'm going to enjoy. This book, Blacula, is for those of you old enough, or if you're younger but a fan of historically schlocky horror movies. Blacula was a movie that came out when we were kids, I believe in the late 70s. It was a quasi. It was like a if a Universal Monsters movie had sex with a blaxploitation film. And that was basically the premise. There was an African prince named Prince Mamuwalde, who was the prince of the Abani nation in Africa. And this is in the 1700s. And he's watching as the slave trade is systematically laying waste to his people. And he's looking for allies to help prevent this. He hears word of a wealthy patron supporter in Europe named Vlad Tepes, who's willing to help. So he and his wife take the long journey from the African coast to Transylvania to meet with him. And it turns out, of course, that this is not at all the case. And in the movie, because again this was the 70s and it was blaxploitation, in the movie, Count Dracula mocks Prince Mamuwalde as he's basically raping and killing his wife, and calls him Blacula. As a mockery, to mock him, and turns him into a vampire. And then the movie, of course, is modern day, aka the 1970s, and Prince Mamuwalde now is Blacula, and so forth and so on. This graphic novel adaptation is largely like the movie. I mean, I haven't seen the movie in decades, so I can't tell you if it's like how spot on it is relative to the film. I remember the film conceptually. I don't remember it frame by frame or chapter by chapter. So I don't know how much this graphic novel adaptation veers from what we got in the movie. I have the sense it's got a bit more gravitas and a bit more plot than the film, as I recall. But again, I haven't seen the film since I was very young. So, but nevertheless, the premise is exactly the same as I laid out. Same exact premise, only it's set in modern times rather than the 70s. There's a young woman who is a bit of she's like a true crime podcaster of sorts, and she travels to a town in the U.S. to try and find proof of Blacula, and she encounters a number of other protagonists along the way, including a gentleman named Cross, who's kind of like the Van Helsing of the story. His Blacula had turned his grandmother into a vampire and basically ruined their family's life. So he's been trying to find him and kill him. And what I loved about the book, aside from the basic premise, is that it's very layered. So you've got this idea of Tina Thomas, who's the podcaster, and Cross and this crew trying to find Blacula for different reasons, though, right? Cross wants to kill him. She wants to interview him and prove that he exists. You've got the Blacula backstory, but then also he, because of his creation, wants to find and kill Dracula, and he basically blames, he wants to die. He doesn't want to be immortal, and he hates Dracula. But you've also got a situation where Mamuwalde's been trapped in hell for quite a long time, for decades. And he literally petitions Lucifer like for parole every 10 years, and Lucifer mocks him. And eventually Blacula outwits him because he keeps not getting permission, and he escapes from hell, comes to Earth in an attempt to find Dracula and avenge all of this. So all of these things are going on coincidentally. It's really well paced. For those that don't know the names, Rodney Barnes and Jason Shawn Alexander are longtime collaborators. They have done Philadelphia together. It's again another vampire series, a historical fiction vampire series I loved. It's now over, but it was at least 40 issues, might have been closer to 50 issues when all was said and done. So they're longtime collaborators, and this could very well, this feels like it could very well be in the Philadelphia universe. I don't think it is, but it very much looks and feels and in all ways just fits right in with that. So, but this was terrific, man. You know, I'm a huge fan of Jason Shawn Alexander's painting. It's very moody, it's very gothic, which I think lends itself to this kind of horror. I thought that they did a nice job fleshing out the characters, making them have heart and dynamism. You actually care about the protagonists. They're not just kind of vessels. They're not red shirts you're just waiting for them to get killed. And I guess the only nit I have, and this is more of a me thing than a creator thing, is that the book ends on a cliffhanger. I was unaware when I ordered this to read that this is the first of 3 intended chapters. And I bring that up because I've seen neither hide nor hair mention of Volume 2. So I really sincerely hope that they're just, taking their time with it, but it's still coming, because it would be a real bummer, because we don't get a conclusion. Essentially, we're left with Blacula and Dracula really haven't had their ultimate face-off yet, and Lucifer's caught on to the fact that Blacula escaped from hell, and so he sent a particular type of other supernatural creature that is known to be enemy of the vampire out to get him. But again, all of that's to come. We haven't seen any of it other than we know that it's about to happen. So sincerely hope we're going to get the follow-on volumes of this soon. But even if we don't, I think as a standalone story, it was very entertaining. But just be forewarned that you will not get the full conclusion. You will not see Blacula either succeed or fail at his quest to kill Vlad the Impaler. But overall, really enjoyed it, and a pretty easy mark for me, given that I was a huge fan of Philadelphia. I figured it would be pretty hard for me not to enjoy this, and I was right.
I thought there was a because I know that I remember seeing it recently on CGN's site. But when you look up other things, it says originally published in 2023.
Yeah, no, this one came out in 2023. That's what I'm saying. So it's been 2 years, and I searched after finishing this to see if there was a solicit for Volume 2 that I missed, and there isn't any. So I don't know this.
Is this the hardcover or the trade?
This is the hardcover.
Okay, so maybe the trade was just released in October.
That's entirely. Well, no, I think maybe the hardcovers, because I just got this. Well, I got this from CGN, and it was on I think their new. So I think that's the disconnect. Huh. Either way, the point is,
right?
Yeah,
this is the only one we've gotten.
Yeah, the point is I see no indication that we're getting the second volume, at least anytime soon. So.
And this was so. Oh, so this was a standalone graphic novel. This wasn't like this wasn't a collection of. There wasn't a Blacula series that this collected.
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now I'm caught up. Wow. I do feel like it's in the Philadelphia universe. I mean, but that's just a feeling on my part. I, as somebody who's barely read any Philadelphia, apologies to Jeff Carter, I have not. I haven't read a ton of Rodney Barnes stuff either. A couple things here and there, but and I adore Jason's art. So yeah, I think I will be I'll be. I think I'm going to add this to the wish list. Nice. Moving on. We've got continuing that I did read the fourth issue of Remender and Acuña's escape. The fourth issue, it picks up shortly after the events from previous issue, after Milton is trying to escape the enemy on foot, on two wheels, whatever he could use to put some distance. Unfortunately, he's injured, knocked unconscious, and in the fourth issue, we find out he comes to in a home, in a house. There's a young child watching him, and when Milton immediately thinks about the satchel that he had with him during the escape, and when he starts lingering about the bedroom looking for his satchel, the kid's startled and runs out and hides in a little secret cubbyhole in the wall. This issue was very much it's basically it reminds me of a one scene, one act play where it's just except for the flashback with at the start of the issue with Milton leaving home, saying goodbye to his pregnant wife, getting in a car so they could drive to the airstrip and ship out. It all takes place in this home from when Milton comes to pretty much until the end of the day, or at least the next day. This was shades of the Diary of Anne Frank. He's a soldier for the enemy. He's an enemy soldier, but this person, this man and his child are basically. You see bandages, you see surgical equipment, you see obviously the man knew what he was doing and saved Milton, whether he would have bled out or his injuries he would have succumbed to his injuries, but he's been patched up. When the man comes in, when the man returns home, Milton's very aggressive and threatening him. He picks up a knife. He's like, "Talk, or I'll." And the dude's like, "Listen, man, I knew you Westerners were dense, but if I were secret police, like, would I leave my child? Would I leave my son unarmed to watch over you? Wouldn't I have turned you in? Wouldn't I have just let you die? Like why am I keeping you alive? Like, you just ease up a bit." And the son comes out from his cubbyhole. They have a conversation. Milton's just basically he's asking questions, and the old man's like, "Listen, I don't want to call him an old man, but the guy's like, we don't need to know about each other, because God forbid either one of us are ever caught or questioned. The less we know, just the better." Because once these patrols move on, because they're basically, patrols are in the area, they're knocking on doors, they're checking out homes, but when the patrol moves on, so are you. So let's just sit tight. But he's explaining to Milton that, when the soldiers come around, if they knock a certain way, we don't open the door. If they kick the door down, then we go into the crawl space. Although Milton probably won't quite fit in a little secret passageway, but Milton says, if the patrols do come in, then then I'll make it look like, you two were my prisoners, and which of course doesn't exactly make the guy feel all that at ease. But they're he they feed Milton. They're just chatting, sitting in the living room, having a conversation, talking about life and how they ended up where they are, and it's two sides, it's two opposing sides, just not having a debate, not arguing, just stating how their lives are, how life is for them, where they're from. But when although Milton does say so Milton's talking to him the way things are presented to his side, and how they you people let this happen to your country, and email's like, listen, by the time we saw people vanish, by the time we realized what was going on, it was too late, and we couldn't stop the machine at that point. And many did resist, and Milton's like, well, that's not what I read. And the dude's like, well, shallow graves don't make headlines. And so Milton's like, but they beat being a coward. And then Milton catches himself. He's like, listen, I drop bombs from a plane, so there's a bit of cowardice in that as well. So Milton mentions the satchel, and he says I can't find it, and it's important. And the old man says there was nothing when we found you. He says patrols were above us searching for hours after you passed out. But if the satchel was up there, then they have it. But Milton, something doesn't sit right with Milton. He's not he doesn't really believe the dude. So he's about to turn in, and the old man reminds him that I'm not putting my son at risk. I'm not putting Emil at risk. So at first light, you must go. So, but Milton's like, okay, that's cool. I am curious though. Why'd you stick your neck out for me? And guy's like, well, like, not all of us are party men, and we rebel however we can, no matter how small. And then he notices that Emil is sleeping with a picture, a framed photo of the family. So it's Emil, it's his dad, it's his mom, and a sibling. I believe he had a younger sister. So no idea where the other two are. But he returns to the bedroom, and that's the end of the issue. So it's two people from either side of the conflict, or two characters from either side of the conflict, just expressing how they view the other side, and kind of how it really is. You're a stranger in a strange land, and this person is now telling you what actually is going on, regardless of what your newsreels have shown you, or whatever your opinion is, or whatever your beliefs might be about these people on the other side. It's not always what it is. So Milton's going to bed with some things to think about, of course, and obviously he has to figure out where the satchel is and how to get that so he can finish his mission. But this was after the first couple of issues of setting things up, and we're thrust into the battle in the first issue, and then of course is the plane crashing and Milton trying to survive and escape and or at least stay ahead of the enemy. And now this is a very low key, very quiet issue where you're kind of stuck in the moment. You're stuck in this house, practically in this one room with these two. It's the heaviest of the 4 issues to date. The heaviest, the quietest, the one that's going to sit with you the most, especially the way as strained as things can be right now in the real world, let alone how things might have been in a world war. That this is is somewhat paying homage to, if you want to call it that. But apparently, Milton is based on Remender's grandfather, Melvin, and how he was a pilot. So yeah, it as you know, whether it was Deadly Class, obviously Rick puts himself in his work and in certain things. So I mean, the fact that he's again thinking about family and taking Acuña with him to use anthropomorphic characters to tell this story. I know I've their time, and a lot of it is also just to kind of get under Vince's skin, and I can I'll poke at Acuña's art from time to time, and there are some books he does that I think are just gorgeous, absolutely beautiful, and then there are a couple of books that and it could just also be the subject matter of the characters that he's drawing, but there sometimes Daniel will draw things that I'm just like I'm not feeling. So this again, as I said when we started talking about this series, I'm not keen on war. I'm not a big fan of war stories, especially World War II. But the fact that I am reading this, looking forward to each issue. It's illustrated by Daniel Acuña, and it's animals where it's one of those things where I can, if these are humans, it's one thing, but to know that that an animal, regardless of how unrealistic it is, since they're walking and talking on two legs, still you show me an animal with a certain expression, and I'm done. So now I have to worry about animals in a war, and it's just, but yeah, I'm amazed that I am into this book as much as I am. I never would have before this was announced. I would have been like, yeah, no, that's cool. You know, Rick's doing another book, and he's gonna tie it in to gonna make it personal, and it's what Rick does. But yeah, I'm almost taken aback at how into this series I am.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it. I mean, obviously, you know where I stand on Rick.
Yeah.
And I mean, I haven't read issue 4 yet, but I can't help every time I crack open one of these issues I just feel like Acuña's on some Juan Garnido shit, man. It's like, this is like, it just feels like this could fit right into Black Sad universe, you know?
Yes.
Obviously, Black Sad is Nora detective stuff, but I mean, same, you know. But visually, I mean, in terms of the way he chooses to render the anthropomorphic characters, and it just feels like Acuña. I mean, if we ever get a chance to meet Acuña, I would love to ask him if he is a fan of and/or inspired by Garnido, which would be, you know, make some sense. I think they're both. I think Acuña is a generation younger than Garnido, and this is, I think, contemporary from a geographic perspective. So it would make sense. But yeah, yeah, it's a great series, man, and you know, it's a nice reminder of like we even with the creators that we love, we tend to sort of over time, sometimes intentionally, sometimes subconsciously, pigeonhole them as to we know what a Remender comic is, or we know what a Bendis comic is, right? Or we know what a Wade comic is. It's like you just tell yourself like, oh, I know I see the Matrix. And that doesn't mean we don't enjoy them. We just feel like we've read so much of them, we really kind of get what we're. And I love when they can do something that reminds you that no, like they're. I mean, you know, like Rick's capable of telling lots of different kinds of stories with different types of pacing and settings and genres and moods, and it's just nice to see, you know, because like it's been a while since. Well, actually, I was going to say it's been a while since Rick did like a good-natured, like fun comic, but actually he's doing that skateboard one right now. I'm just not reading it, so that's not fair.
Yeah.
But yeah,
the
but like my
grommets.
point is, Rick is he's a varied talent. He's a very talented writer who is very comfortable doing very different genres. Whenever he sees fit, like whenever he's inspired. So yeah, I hope this goes on for a long time. It's supposed to be an ongoing, so let's hope it could. At some point, I mean, it is one of those questions of like how much of an ongoing can it be, right? Because I mean, he's kind of like dude's in enemy territory trying to get home. I don't know how long that can last without
Right.
ending poorly, but I presume what he means by saying it's ongoing is if sales are good, he could turn this into a 30, 40 issue story, and if sales aren't great, then he could wrap it up in 2 arcs. We'll see. So, but yeah, so far so great. I have 2 volume 3s of series that I have loved and talked about prior volumes. One of them you have not read prior volumes. One you have read prior volumes. Um, I'll choose the weirder of the two. Um, and it's a delight. It's Hobtown Mystery Stories,
Oh, good.
Volume
Okay.
3. Yeah, Hobtown Mystery Stories, Volume 3, The Secret of the Saucer. Um, this is published by Oni. As with the prior volumes, it's written by Kris Bertin and drawn by Alexander Forbes, with colors by Jason Fisher-Cui. We've talked about the prior 2 volumes, so we're not breaking new ground here. But the premise is pretty simple. It's basically like Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys meets David Lynch. I mean, that's pretty much the premise. There's a town in Nova Scotia called Hobtown. There is a teen detective club, and each of these volumes is them solving a mystery, much like the Nancy Drew and Encyclopedia Brown and Hardy Boys mystery novels were like. And it's a small town setting just like them, and it's relatively benign, average people just like them. But the David Lynchian part is that shit is weird, and I'm happy to report that with each subsequent volume of this shit gets weirder, and this is far and away the strangest volume. And it's also, I think, the most maturely composed, or not maturely. That's not the right. It's the most uniquely composed. Like I think they're continuing to add layers to their abilities as storytellers. The premise here is basically, well, I shouldn't say the premise. The storytelling structure here that's unique is that it's told in reverse chronological order. Now, I know for some people, like some people hate the flashback. The like you see it in TV all the time now, right? Like you'll see like the murder, and then the rest of the episode will be showing you what happened. That's
Right.
not what this is. I don't want to imply that. This is literally like Memento. It starts with chapter
Oh.
12, and each chapter and it ends with chapter 1. So it's not like you see the climax and then you start back going linearly. You go in reverse linear fashion each chapter, right? So the chapter is linear, but the happenings of the first chapter is the last chapter of the story, so it's kind of reverse order. You could theoretically, I guess, read this in reverse like you're reading a manga and start with chapter 1 and read forward to be linear. I don't know how I'm curious to maybe I'll do that to see what it reads like that way. But the point is they designed it to read it in backwards chronology, and they didn't just do that because it would be an interesting trope in and of itself. They did it because the entire town of Hobtown is suffering from um, a collective dementia of sorts, like a viral infection of sorts, which is it's basically it's called literal backward thinking. Like they're the basically the ability of people to process cause and effect linearly are flipped like asunder. So the book is meant to show you what these people are dealing with this manifestation. So again, weird, like high concept, not your typical straightforward story. You kind of got to dig a little deep here and some philosophical ideas to kind of fully embrace it. But the weirdness doesn't stop there. The premise in this book is that there's all kinds of stuff happening. You've got a very hotly contested mayoral race, which leads to a riot. You've got a UFO sighting. You've got aliens. You've got a dude named the Ape Lord, who's like this chaotic antagonist. He's being pursued by the town's local knitting circle, which is kind of like positioned as a rival detective group, but of like older women, so kind of like Agatha Christie, like Murder She Wrote kind of vibes. So so it's like you got like this older group of people that are trying to chase down the ape lord, but then you've got the teen crew that we've seen in the prior volumes in this volume that are trying to solve the UFO situation. So that's fun. Yeah, you just got a lot going on, and it's all done in this visual style that I find disarming relative to the weirdness of the story. It really does. I think that's why I do think that their comparison. And I didn't make up the David Lynch comparison. I think they themselves have put it out there. I think you really see it. I mean, it's like watching Twin Peaks. Like again, it's kind of this small town, kind of drib drab average setting, but weird shit happens, and you're just like totally taken aback by it. In part because of the setting. It's like you're not prepared for what you're seeing, because you're expecting just to see like small town, like let me go and get coffee and then going into Danish and then go read the paper. It's like, but then weird shit's happening in the background, and that's what the whole vibe of the Hobtown series has been. But I think they're just getting more and more confident in embracing the weirdness with each subsequent volume. Yeah, it's just awesome, man. And the visual style too, I think in and of itself deserves praise. I mean, I think he's got that same clear line approach that in my mind is best personified by Charles Burns or Dan Clowes. But like there's lots of people that are part of that school. Chris Ware is probably another favorite of people's. Just the way that he has this very precise, controlled line weight to his work, I find appealing, especially because it adds to the weirdness of it. Like again, you're looking at relatively mundane things, but then the actual happenings are really strange. And I think where he does a nice job of mixing and matching is that the like the people themselves, are not as mundane or clean of a line. Like they look more to me like Chester Brown characters, or like Pete Bagg, I guess. They're a little more wonky and ugly and odd, which is great. I love it. I think the juxtaposition works beautifully, and really I think is exactly what they were going for. And then props to Fisher Cooey for the colors, because he brings this brushed, matted palette, like you got just these, like these grays and these light greens and these ochres, like just colors that I think lend themselves to the feeling you'd get when you're looking at like the covers of the old novels that you would have bought as a kid, like those Grosset and Dunlap hardcover covers of the Hardy Boys and stuff. Like just awesome stuff. And then the covers themselves of these books are in fact meant intentionally to look like those old covers, those pulpy covers, painted covers. So it's just like everything about this, man. It's it's this nostalgic vein. Like it's packaged and presented like these nostalgic comic adaptations of these teen detectives, but the reality is it's just really weird and supernatural and bizarre stuff happens in each page, and it just keeps you guessing. And I've said this a million times in recent years, but like, you give me a story that is surprising or feels like something I haven't read before, and I'm a fan for life. And I think that the Hobtown guys are doing that. They are the Hobtown stories every year or so when we get a new one and I read it, feel like nothing else that I've read that year, and that's a huge plus for me. And so I hope they keep banging them out, man. And I don't feel like they're very well covered or well known. Like I don't feel like they're major hits. So I hope they're doing well enough that they keep putting them out, because they're freaking great. And yeah, you're gonna love this one. I would say anyone that loved the first two is gonna love this one, but by far and away, I think if what you loved about the first two was the weirdness and the David Lynchian nature of it, then this one is the culmination. Like this is where I think it all clicks, and you're like, oh, okay, like got it. Because I think the first two were very good, and they had elements of it, but I think they somewhat veered back and forth between more conventional linear storytelling and the weirdness. Whereas I think this time they just go fully in, and we're going to be really freaking weird and get people thinking, "What the fuck's going on here?" Like, and I think that's awesome. So, huge fan of this one. We're very close to nearing the time when we all need to put together our 11 o'clock or 10 favorite things of the year. I can't say with absolute certainty that this will make it because I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment. But if I were making the list tomorrow, it would be in my list of my 10 favorite things this year.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I am. I'm looking forward to reading the third. I still have to read the second. So now that the third is out, I will.
Oh, you read the second?
I didn't read the second yet.
Okay.
But because they are not small books. They're
no. This is 264 pages.
Yeah.
So
it takes a minute, and it's also because of how it's illustrated, because of the story, obviously, and the mystery motif. It's not something I want to rush through. So yeah, it's. But yeah, I am looking forward to it. The first one was a lot of fun. And when I was reading the solicit for CGN when it was announced, when the third one was announced, talking about the UFOs and the knitting circle and everything like that, I was like, I need to hurry up so I can get to this one, and I feel like you're right. It doesn't. Those who read it will talk about it, and that's who's doing. No one's really saying, "Hey, what's this about?" or "Should I try this?" People. The only time you hear about anybody talking about it are the people who are reading it, and it almost feels like it's this. It's a cult classic before it's old enough to be a cult classic. So
I agree.
I dig that. The covers that Hardy Boy Nancy Drew vibe. It's a and I think it may also speak to a certain generation, not even a demographic, but a certain generation that just sees imagery like that, and it instantly brings them back.
Yeah.
And so it's I appreciate that. I'm finding, and again, not to keep harping on getting older, but I'm whether it's like case of Stranger Things, like that's and I once we're done here, I'll go downstairs and finish the first episode. But it a show like that is, even though other people can enjoy it, like you said, Holden wanted to watch it, and Mario's got his kids are into it. So I know that people younger than us obviously dig the story and appreciate it, but it's the subject matter, the era it takes place in. It's all. I'm not trying to gatekeep, and I'm not trying to say it's art, but it's very Gen X. Everything about it, and so
sure.
they've got us from the beginning. The fact that it can attract other folks, from regardless of when you were born, I love that. But seeing something like this, I'm at there are times where I'll give anything a shot, but if you're going to take the time and cater to my age, then yeah, you're going to get maybe a little bit of a longer look, because you're speaking to me. So yeah, something like Hobtown is right up my alley in that regard. So yeah, I am I'm looking forward. However, the other third volume, I have the first two downstairs on the side table. The third is coming from CGN. So I just started the first volume, and no one knows what we're talking about because they haven't seen your list. But I am looking forward to just sitting down and going through all three volumes when I finally get the third.
Yes, indeed.
But before we get to that, what do we got? We got let's see. I wanted to talk about there were a couple things that I find that wrapped up the first Gehenna Naked Aggression was Vince and I talked up the first issue, and the trade is out, collecting the 4 issues, and but it's not over. We are getting a sequel. Gehenna is coming back, I believe. The next chapter is called Lust for Conquest. Not sure when that's coming out, but it looks as though it's going to pick up right where Naked Aggression leaves off, because while and this was very much like Gehenna is she's a woman who is laser focused on the task at hand, and right now the task at hand is bringing this child, this boy, back to his father, so the hit on her, the bounty, the price on her head, can be wiped. So she's being hunted because, well, for one thing, she's got this dude's kid with her, but she's obviously trying to just keep the kid safe so that he can be returned and she can walk away free. But while she's being hunted, turns out that the person who she's trying to bring this kid back to may not still be in the picture, and now things are a little messy. The art is the art's wild. Gehenna is written by Patrick Kindlon, and art is by Maurizio Rosenzweig, and it is what I like about the art is because this is so action packed. There are punches and kicks and bullets flying, but and there's a lot of double page spreads, but if she's going to flip someone over, you'll kind of see it from 2 angles. You'll see it from her flipping them over the back, and then you'll see them still in mid flip, but when they land, it's just the way the action flows is cool. The art's kind of scratchy in places. It's because I believe actually, this artist has drawn Dylan Dog, so it definitely has that European feel to it. Sure. And it's violent. It's gratuitous in spots because there are nipples poking through the heaviest of leather. Big asses. Actually, that was a description of one of the characters when they were talking about the kidnapper. It's like, tan complexion, big ass, and it's like, okay, so they know they got the right person. Not everybody is attractive, which is nice to see. You've got some ugly ass women in this that are hunting her down. There's this random dude who looks like he's a DA. Actually, no, he's not a DA. He's a public defender. It's just there's a random scene where, in order to escape, Gehenna blows up a building, and it's right by the L. This is in Chicago, and it's right by the L. And after the explosion, we cut to the train car, and there's a dude who's talking about. It looks like he's talking to his client, so it's a random. We're in the middle of this conversation. We have no idea what led up to this. Here's just other people introduced in this book right now. And so he's talking to this woman about the case they're working on, or about her case at least. And then you hear the explosion and the train shimmies. And he asks the client to hold his attaché case. He's got to step out, and she's like, "But the train's moving." And then all of a sudden we see, while Gehenna is trying to escape the police, she gets stopped by this dude who looks like he's kind of wearing this almost like a wildcat mask. But you could tell it's the same dude from the train because the tie is the same. All he did is take off his jacket, and the kid knows that it's the public defender. So we've just got like random vigilante superheroes thrown in this. No setup, no introduction. Just here it is. So she's just running through people like it's John Wick or a or that Patrick Dempsey movie Run, where you're just in the moment, and here's just something else springing up and trying to, it's like a side quest, just distracting her from the mission at hand. This was fun. I'm rooting for Gehenna. I want to see her succeed. I don't know where, because things didn't necessarily go the way she wanted them to. But she does make the best out of any situation, and she does not, when she thinks she's beaten, something else will. It's not like she's not Black Cat where she's running on luck, but there's every time you think that this is it, that either her ticket's getting punched, or at least she's getting taken out of action for a little while, she'll grab something, whether it's a cash register or a fire extinguisher, just something nearby will help her get out of the situation. It's just wild the way we're introduced to characters, just willy nilly. The attitude some of these characters have. She goes to a and then there are times where Maurizio will draw someone, and I don't know if, because there's a little bit more detail in the face than there is in other characters. Like, is this supposed to be someone? Is this supposed to be maybe the artist? Is this supposed to be the artist? I don't know who the reference is, because there's just so much more detail in this face compared to everybody else's. Gehenna needs to get a gun, so she's like, well, there's two places we can go, either a motorcycle gang clubhouse or a drug den. So she finds an MC gang, and the dude at the door, well, since she wants to score, she gets taken into the back room. Well, she's saying she's dope sick. She needs to score. They bring her into the place, and the guy in the back room, he's got all the guns. But of course, she needs to barter. So she's coming on to him, and things don't go well for the guy. But my man looks just like Hulk Hogan, complete with the bandana and the long ass yellow mustache. It's like, why is Hulk Hogan in this comic? But it's just, this was fun. It's nothing heavy. It's nothing. It's not necessarily a book that you're going to. I don't know how many top 10 lists this is going to hit, but it's a great distraction. It's just you kind of get invested really quickly, because you're thrown into it right from the start. So you're hot and heavy in the action right from jump. So you kind of really have to get acclimated and go along for the ride, but it's real easy to be a fan of the character pretty much from the beginning, because she's surviving. She's on a mission, and she doesn't want anything to take that away. She doesn't want anything to detract from that. It's a hell of a ride, and some of the little quips here and there that you just kind of, the little snarky asides that a couple of characters will make here and there, it makes it that much more lived in. It's fun. There's a great sequence that takes place at the Bean, so it's in Chicago. And Maurizio does draw Gehenna kind of sexily. It's not a bad book at all. I had fun with it, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where we go from here. I wouldn't mind seeing. It would have been cool if Marco Ferrari, who he and Kindlon worked on Frontiersman together. I would have liked to see his art on it, but Maurizio does a solid job, and because of the type of story it is, because of the action, because it's nonstop, that scratchiness, that grit is necessary for this. This isn't a book that would have worked under Adam Hughes. It's definitely it's real fitting. I think the art matched the story nicely, and yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye out for when the sequel hits, but or when it drops at least. But yeah, I had fun with this one. This was another one of those pleasant surprises.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't read that, so. Um, the other third volume, which is you acknowledge you're just starting to dive into. About fucking time, by the way.
I know.
No, all good, all good. But this is the third and final volume. And even though you're just about to read it, I don't think.
Oh no, go all in. By the time I get to it, don't worry about it.
Yeah, also because right. It's also it is an adaptation of a
Yep.
well-known story already. I'm talking about Search and Destroy, Volume 3 of 3. I have spoken at length about Search and Destroy Volumes 1 and Volumes 2 when they came out as well. The third and final volume is finally here. It is, as with the prior volumes, it's published here by Fantagraphics. Um, as I said with the first two volumes, last two, each of the four other volumes, Fantagraphics is doing such a nice job with this that I think they should do more manga, because it's fucking great. This does not feel like a Fantagraphics book, and of course I'm an unapologetic Fantagraphics fan. I read most of the stuff they put out, but this does not feel like that. It's an action. It's an ultra modern, ultra violent, super fast paced action comic, which is not Fantagraphics' lot in life usually. But I'm sure that for them, this is about the fact that it is a modern day reinterpretation of Tezuka's Dororo, and that's probably what intrigued them to take a shot with it. To remind everyone, this is a cyberpunk post-apocalyptic reinterpretation of Dororo. Dororo is one of Tezuka's classic series. It was about a story of a person who was chopped up and literally vivisected as a baby, and its body parts were taken by demons. And in the original Dororo, the protagonist is now an adult, and she is a trained killer, and she's going around killing the demons, getting her body back, and she is accompanied by a young impish 10-year-old child named Dororo, who has surprises of their own, but is somewhat there for comic relief and sidekick vibes and humor vibes. But this is a bit more serious. As I said in talking about this in the first two volumes, it's super, super action-packed and violent. It's an awesome twist to make this cyberpunk situation. Premise is basically the same. You've got Hayaku is the name of the protagonist. She is this basically beautiful cyborg killing machine, and she too is going around killing what they all call in this world creatures, which is short for creature. But in essence, these are powerful men and women who have, in this world, it's very common to have cybernetic parts and kind of biomimicry. And so in this world, her body was vivisected, and 48 of her parts were taken and are being utilized by different powerful people in this world. And in the first two volumes, we see her go through and lay waste to many of them and get her parts back. But as I mentioned in the second volume, one of the fascinating tweaks here is that as she's becoming more human, she doesn't realize as she's going on this quest that once she's becoming more human, her quest gets harder because she's now able to bleed and feel pain, and she's not as strong and fast because she's not cybernetically enhanced, right? And so she's kind of not. She didn't really factor that into her journey, such that in the classic arc like this, you'd keep moving up the ladder and fighting bigger and bigger bosses until you get to the final boss, and then you got to kind of pull out all the stops. Well, what happens if as you're going up the ladder, you're getting less powerful, right? So that's kind of the interesting conceit in this story. And that plays out here in the third volume because she is nearing the end of her quest. Over the course of this volume, we also find out a lot more about Dororo and that the little boy is not all that he seems. And I don't think it's a spoiler to say that Hayako eventually gets her revenge. She does get all of her parts back. There's a fascinating tweak, which I believe is a little different from the original Dororo. I haven't read the original Dororo, but I've certainly seen stuff about it, read stuff about it. I'm familiar with the story, but I have not read the story. So I believe this is a tweak, but for those of you that are more familiar, don't kill me if I'm wrong here. But I believe they did a pretty big tweak with the final reveal where she encounters her father and she learns of that what she thought happened to her really isn't exactly right. She in fact was like patient zero of this essential scientific movement to create essentially body farms for organ farms to keep the important people in the world alive and well so that they could run the world. And one of the final people has a body part that she needs back, and when she's about to reclaim it, he explains to her why she might not want it back. And I'm trying to be a little vague, but it's this kind of gut punch of a twist of she's been on this never-ending, super violent, nearly impossible task to reclaim her body, and she's just about to finally succeed, and it's now she's faced with this existential question of whether in succeeding she's dooming herself to failure. So it's a really, really well done story, and it has a lot of heart, but make no mistake, this is just a balls to the wall action comic, And one of the other really fascinating things about this is Atsushi Kaneko, who is the creator. Even though it's a manga, it fucking looks like a Paul Pope comic, and you know how I feel about Paul Pope. Well, we all feel about Paul Pope's work, and remember, this is a modern manga, not like a manga that they're probably bringing over. And Kaneko has very unapologetically said that Paul Pope is his idol. So, I think this is by design. This is basically a Paul Pope styled, hyper violent reinterpretation of Dororo, and that's an absolute grand slam of an idea. So, this is great. As were the first two volumes. I can't say I was surprised by the ending because I knew how the Dororo arc went generally, but I think that it was a super cool way to approach this. Super satisfying from beginning to end, both visually and narratively, and yeah, man, kudos to Fantagraphics for stepping out of their own comfort zone and giving us something that knocked me on my ass.
Damn.
So search for this comic and then destroy your wallet by buying all 3 volumes.
My only, if there is a complaint, and I know it's manga, so I mean that's fine. But because it was Fantagraphics, I thought they might be a little bit physically. I thought the format might be a little larger.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to be true to. I think I think they're trying to be true to the form, right? I presume they didn't want to mess with the original form, which is to say, this is a digest-sized soft cover manga. Your point. And yes, because of the and I don't want this to come off as a negative because I adored everything about this series, but because it is manga digest sized, there are and the book is hyper, the illustrations are hyper detailed and there's tons of action and battling. I do think this would be well served by being larger because there are some pages where it feels busy. But I didn't feel out of place reading it this way because it is a manga. It felt like it's the natural way it would be presented.
I think I was surprised when I opened up the box with the first 2 volumes. I was like, "What? That's oh man, okay,
yeah,
all right."
No, slight. They feel slight, kind of like my shoulders. Yeah, they feel.
Well, I mean, we do actually have something to tag on.
We do, and I'm curious to see if this is a thing that you like more than I do.
Ooh, maybe, maybe. I
Okay.
think I probably do. Partly because I am not current on the ongoing Joe, the Hammer Joe, so I know
Right.
obviously
That
this is a
I
completely
praised
different.
so vociferously 2 weeks ago. Yes.
Yes, but yeah, continuing the Dreadnought War by Josh Williamson and Tom Riley and Jordi Belair. Parts 2 and 3, G.I. Joe numbers 14 and 15, this of course being the Energon Universe Joe. It's basically Duke and Commander, Cobra Commander escaping, trying to escape the Dreadnoks. And I'm not gonna lie, there was a moment where I very much felt like I did as a preteen, very young lad when Marvel was publishing the GI Joe Real American Hero comic, and Cobra Commander was, well, we didn't see at the time, and I don't know if it was ever shown later on, but in here, at least in this series, in Shadows, Cobra Commander is, well, not necessarily unmasked, unhelmeted. His helmet is removed, and he is he's not what, I don't think he's what Duke expected. He sure as hell isn't what any of the Dreadnoks expected. But yeah, whenever, whether it was Rod Wingham or whoever at the time was drawing Joe, and it was just in the shadows or from the back of his head, you'd never see Cobra Commander's face, obviously, when he took off his cowl or his helmet. But yeah, I was pretty much taken right back to those younger days. So I'm like, oh snap! Like the helmet's off. This is wild. But yeah, it's 2 issues of Duke and Cobra Commander escaping the Dreadnoks. They smartly, in some cases, and it's a truce for a time because they are both trying to survive, and they get away. They find a shelter, they think, and that's when things kind of don't necessarily go their way. And man, I was, there was something else about the C&D list team for the Dreadnoks just get taken out as she says, listen, they're all rookies and newbies. They weren't the front line, so I mean it's fine. They were meant to be cannon fodder, and they absolutely were. Cobra Commander took them all out. Duke took them out, and while all this is happening, of course, Destro is making plans and trying to make deals, and the things are going on back at GI Joe HQ while people are trying to figure out, where Duke might be, and so we've got everybody. Hopefully, we'll start looking for them. But yeah, this was I thought that I thought it was a pretty interesting couple of issues. I would think, based on my reaction to them, without hearing your thoughts on it, I likely enjoyed these more than you did.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad saying this because, like, I got love for the dude, but I've come to the conclusion that I'm not crazy about Tom being the main artist on this book.
Oh, okay.
I think his style is really interesting, but I think it's a little too spare for me for this book. Because ultimately, these guys are fucking super soldiers with crazy cool gadgets and weapons and vehicles, and it's like I get a lot of like single characters with minimal backgrounds talking.
Yeah,
And
you're not wrong.
I'm not saying like it's good art clearly, but it doesn't. And it's just but then I'm getting Mooneyham and Pelletier in the other book, and
Yeah.
it's like I'm getting like I'm getting all of it, you know, and it's like so that's a part of it, I think. I also I don't know what the fuck is going on with dude's way he's drawn Destro. He's got Destro having like fucking like it looks like he's got 80-inch shoulders and like a 2-inch waist. I don't know what's going on there. Um, I'm not crazy about fucking issues for like we're a year into the book and like Cobra Commander and Duke spend more time being buddies like it's a fucking buddy cop show
Yeah.
than they are like they're I don't know, man. I don't know. Like this book frustrates me because I want to love it. I think there's some cool stuff in it, but like I don't like that the team feels spare and haphazard and piecemeal and like they're
We really
not
haven't had the
finding two.
team. We haven't had the gang together.
Yeah, like I don't know, man. Like I every time I read an issue, I'm like, all right, like I feel like I'm working
Next one.
harder to find stuff to praise it than I'm feeling like then I'm just feeling like a straight fire to me. I mean, I love the Dreadnoks. I think it was cool. Like I think they made Road Pig real a badass, which is cool. Nice seeing Xandar and Zorana. Like that's cool. Like I'm here for all of that. Um, definitely here for that. Like definitely. Uh, like I'm here for some of the things they're alluding to. Um, you know, like I'm here for that. Like yeah, I'm here for a lot of it, but ultimately, um, yeah, ultimately it's like a push and pull of things that annoy me about it and things that I really like. And I think if I'm being fair, Tom's artistic approach plays a role there. So yeah. Uh, but I'll keep reading it. I mean, I like it enough to keep reading it. I just, to me, the other book is tickling my childhood fantasies, as I
Right.
mentioned 2 weeks ago. This feels like something new, which can be cool. And I still think, if I'm being objective, this is a better GI Joe comic than a lot of what we got from IDW and Devil's Due. Like I think that
Yeah.
like, but I'm 15 issues in, and I'm still waiting to love this comic.
I know.
Particularly in the same way I loved the miniseries that led into the series. You know,
Yes.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And like you said, yeah, it's been. I mean, we're now past the year mark because
Hmm.
we were talking about 14 and 15, and while something can be said about at least these particular 5 issues with the Dreadnought War happening at a pretty quick clip, even though it's 5 issues and they're kind of, I think they're bi-weekly right now, but it's all taking place over hours, not even days. So
Yeah.
I I'm in that regard, as far as this particular arc, I'm okay with
Sure.
that because of the setting. But yeah, overall, thinking back from the first issue and setting everything up based on spinning out of those miniseries, as we've said in the past regarding this book, we should be further along than where we are 15 issues in. There's absolutely no disputing that.
Yeah, and like again, I know it's always unfair to directly compare an artist to another artist per se, but Riley's been compared from the very first time we ever saw him to Somni, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
he clear like he and I was sitting here reading these 2 issues thinking what Somni did on Firepower, you know, which is another sort of action packed, right, like story with a bunch of different characters, and I thought, man, what would this book look like if Somni drew it? Like because it's again like the minimal. I'm generally a fan of the minimalist line work approach, like you know Somni and Elsa Charretier, and I like that. You know so like I think that it's like Victor Santos, I'm a fan of that style. So it's not even that, but for some reason I'm not quite sure Tom has mastered it. Like I think to me sometimes I feel like when I'm looking at a page I'm seeing a guy who is not giving me a lot of backgrounds in detail because he's doesn't have the time to do it, which I completely don't know if that's true or not. Like, I'm not saying that's what's happening, but I'm saying that's how I feel reading these pages. Whereas when I'm reading Charioteer or Somni or Santos, I very much feel like the lack of background sometimes is a artistic and conscious choice, which doesn't take away from the storytelling. And that could all be in my fucking head, but that's how I feel reading them relatively. So like, I don't know, man. Like for me, like, you know, like, yeah, maybe if Somni drew this, I would be like, damn. But like, in my mind, I'm like, well, if Somni drew this, it'd be straight fire. I'd be like, holy shit. So,
True.
you know, yeah. Again, an unfair comparison. I mean, Somni's like an all-time, you know, a generational great, but like, yeah. So.
No, I mean, you can't argue that. It is. I mean,
Yeah.
super valid, absolutely valid.
No, for sure. And you know, and I like Cobra Commander's weird in this because we see him in his miniseries leave Cobra La, so that's like that cat's out of the bag immediately. But we also see that basically like Cobra La's not having it. Like they try and, you know, they basically view him as a traitor.
Yep.
But is he a traitor? Is he not a traitor? And then he's got the Energon and uses it to create Cobra, but like they're watering down the Energon, and like that's all cool. I like that. Like I like the idea of like, but then we really haven't had much in a while in this book that ties back to the Transformers, other than clutches. You know, like so. Yeah, man. Like I don't know. Like
Super slow burn.
I guess I just wanted to get to fucking like let's get
Yes.
to it.
Yep.
Let's get to it.
Yeah,
let's
and
get to it.
I can't fault you for feeling that way. I'm
Yeah.
Before we got thrown into this arc, I was saying the same thing. I mean, I think, and maybe, you know, props to Williamson then for maybe timing it this way. I'm not going to assume I know what he's thinking, but it's like, you know, maybe he figured, listen, I'm writing this book. It's almost a year, and it's moving slow, and maybe it might also be because of whatever Kirkman's got going on with Void Rivals. Maybe they're trying to tie something in. So
Right.
I'm not going to assume someone's dragging his feet, but it's maybe Williamson was like, I need to give the reader something so that maybe it feels like a GI Joe book, but at least there's action and there's something that'll tide them over until we can really get things going. And so yeah, if this was the only thing and we didn't have Transformers or Void Rivals, I'd absolutely say that, you know, this has been going on way too long and nothing's going on. But because we're tied into other things, I don't know. I'm guessing. I'm assuming things. I don't know how things are planned, but because this is part of a larger whole, maybe something is slowing progress down a tad, but we'll see. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, it's still Riley. I like Tom's art, but yeah, it is one of those things where and listen, I mean, you're out in the desert, so it's not like you're gonna get a ton of backgrounds, but they're also driving vehicles and they're shooting weapons, and so we should have some detail. There should be something more than just you know, a couple of lines to indicate someone's body armor, things like that. So yeah. I absolutely get it. And yeah, when you have it's more, this feels more at times I'll look at the art and it reminds me of the cartoon, whereas if Mooneyham's drawing something, then that's a little bit more
also like Duke's cool. Like, don't get me wrong. Like you know, Duke's the guy. Like, obviously, like he's the boss. Like, I'm not like I mean, GI Joe's such an important part of childhood. I can't be anti Duke, but like, god damn, it's Duke centric though. Like, I mean, damn, like it's really like a Duke series.
It is, yes. It's Duke Volume 2.
And like Duke's just like he's just Duke. Like he's like blonde haired, blue eyed, like army dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, all right, man. Like, where's my fire storm shadow? Where's my fire snake eyes?
It's called G.I. Joe, man. Come on.
Where's my
It's a team
tunnel
book,
rat? Where's
damn
my
it.
fucking? Where's my low light, dude? Where's my shipwreck? Where's my, where's my quick kick, man? Like I need me some, I need me some varieties of spice of life, son. You know, like,
I do need to see some Shipwreck. Shipwreck was my dude.
That's what I'm saying, man. Polly want a fucking cracker. You know what I mean?
Right? There's some Wild Bill up in this piece.
Oh, yeah, hell yeah! You know, I'm gonna get, let me get some. Yeah, I want to get some hovercrafts up in here.
Yes.
I want some, I don't know, man.
I feel you. I feel you.
But yeah, but it ain't bad though. That's the thing. It's not bad. It's definitely
it's not.
No,
it's not.
Bad. No, it's not.
If it existed in its own, then it'd be one thing. But like you said, we do have another GI Joe book, and naturally that's true. Where your eyes are going to go. So it's unfortunate. It's kind of it's where I'm putting all this. I'm assigning blame elsewhere, and who knows? But yeah, it is.
It's blame to assign. It's blame to assign.
No. I mean, it's not necessarily Williamson's fault that it's feeling this way. It's where, and I think we're thinking about it way harder than anybody needs to. But yeah, I think on that note, we will remind you all that this episode was brought to you by cheapgraphicnovels.com, where you can get massive discounts on a massive assortment of collections, hardcovers, trade paperbacks, omnibus, absolutes, manga. Hopefully you took part in that sale, and if you did, if that was your first order, hope you hurried up and sent Max an email letting him know that 11 O'Clock Comics sent you, so this way your next order you can get your free shipping. You can find us on patreon.com/11 O'Clock Comics. We are on Instagram, Blue Sky. You can find us on the socials. We got the Facebook page. Leave us a review, please, wherever you do get your podcasts, whether it's Apple or YouTube, or Spotify, or Good Pods, whatever. Wherever you get your podcast, leave us a review. We really appreciate it. We have some things that we're working on lining up early next year. We've got the O'Clockers happening soon, so don't forget to think of. We're going to use the same format we did last year, as far as I know, and we'll have something written up very, very soon, and then of course we'll also have the Google form on the site that you can fill out, and that is pretty much it. In your travels, there were 2 books that I finished. One, the 4th issue just came out last week. The 5th issue on the other series came out a little while ago, but the trade has just been released, I believe, this week. So both have Kill in the title. The first is the final issue of The Voice Said Kill by Saya Spurrier and Vanessa Del Rey. Vince talked about the first issue. I talked about a couple of them, and this was. I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm not going to go into too much detail. The art's wild. I mean, it's Del Rey, so yeah, you know what you're expecting there. But it's a weird. Thinking about it now, it almost feels like something that this is a story Tarantino would do. But it's set down in the bayou, so you got a whole lot of that Creole accent going on. It's drug smuggling. It's another family that runs the town, and there's revenge, and there's a pregnant woman who's just trying to survive, and she basically, she's not a cop. She just oversees the land and almost like a park ranger, but she gets caught up in this, and it's hectic and it's harrowing, and she's scared, and there's a voice in her ear, but she lost her earpiece. So where's the voice coming from?
Uh-huh.
It's a crazy, it's a wild story. I basically only like one person in this story, and I think that's by design. But it was crazy. The art's great. It's a short story that is you're rooting for people, or at least one in particular. But it's there's a whole there's more to the story that we don't know, which is absolutely fine. These are lived-in characters. These are people that have experiences that we weren't there for. So we know that, but they have dealt with things, and so you're able to kind of just go with the flow in that regard. You're not growing up with them. This is what they're dealing with, and it's a solid story. I was content. It ended the way I'm glad it ended. It ended in a way that made sense. The other, which of course was one of my favorite series this year, another banger from Doug Wagner and Daniel Hilliard with colors by Michelle Madsen. The 5th issue of I Was a Fashion School Serial Killer. This is where it all comes together. Of course, Rennie had she's been dealing with things in class, and seeking her revenge and making people pay for their misdeeds, regardless of how small or large. But now it's there were some underhanded, nefarious things going on regarding the dean, regarding her instructor, and maybe some human trafficking thrown in. So Rennie, of course, has to kind of save the day. And again, the 5th issue is hella violent, with heads being cut in half or in quarters, and disemboweling, and just it's amazing how Hilliard's art just it's almost comical, the violence. It's not just I love the man's line, but it's the violence is just it's the way it plays out. It's whimsical. It's almost musical. The way it just flows. It's beautiful violence. I think that I don't know how much red is in this comic, but there's a ton, and even the other colors, like they're beautiful, violet and orange, yellowish hues in some panels, and just to for emphasis because of how these bodies are being taken care of. But yeah, it's a I'm happy with how this wrapped up, and I'm also I am a little concerned that that Rennie's friend here, that Sophie, who she rescues, I don't know if, it almost feels like Sophie, I don't, because of how it ends, because of how how these characters end the story. I don't know if Sophie has really, because of her expression, I don't know if she knows exactly what's going on. I feel as if she's still not in denial, but she's still in shock. She hasn't accepted everything that she's witnessed. That's my take, but it just could also be that's the way she deals with it, and it is going to be a happy ending for everyone. But yeah, this was a blast, and it, if you enjoyed plastic either volume, if you enjoyed vinyl, if you enjoyed plush, you know what you're getting with Wagner and Hilliard. So it is more of that, beautifully done. I was a teenage. I was a fashion school killer. Is a lot of fun. Like I said, the trade has just come out, so you can add it to your collection.
Very nice. Yeah, I know you and Vince love that crew.
Yes. Yep.
You do. Um, in my travels, in your travels, you may or may not want to join me in this little. I I caught up with my friends, the Avengers, Earth's Mightiest
Nice.
Heroes. As you know, Dap, Avengers is one of my sort of safety blankets. I'm always happier when Avengers is good. If I'm being fair, it's been a long time since I think Avengers was a must-read comic, like a long time. Um, I was certainly not a fan of Jason Aaron's approach, and then had high hopes for Jed McKay to take over, and it's been okay. Like up until this point, I think it's been okay. It hasn't. I mean, again, I don't think it's been must read. And as a result of that, I was letting them stack up, and then I realized this week when I was surveying the landscape of what I wanted to read for the show, I thought, oh my gosh, I have a year's worth of Avengers comic stacked up, so I gotta catch up. So I read 21 through 32, literally a year's worth, and I have to say, maybe it's absence makes the heart grow fonder. I don't know. I enjoy them. Again, I don't think this is not a gavel pounder like thing where I'm like, all right, if you don't normally read Avengers, this is time to jump in. It's not that. But I did think that there was a lot of things in this last year that I did find enjoyable. I don't think it's perfect. There were also plenty of things I found annoying or frustrating. So it's not like, but I think overall I enjoyed them much more than disliked. Like the things I liked a lot more than than disliking the things I disliked. If that makes sense. If like you're kind of stacking up the pros and cons.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to go super deep here, but I just will sort of quickly touch on sort of the arcs that I read. So in the where I picked up starts with Avengers versus X-Men is the title, but it's really not that. It's really quite endearing. The Avengers show up to the X-Men's base in Alaska, and they have a baseball game, which pulls at the heartstrings. Talking about nostalgia, right? And it's silly, right? It's like they're using their, like, it's fun. It's just fun and silly and nonsensical. And they have the baseball game, and then they have dinner together, and it's like old friends because this current Avengers iteration is got Carol Danvers, who's X-Men adjacent. Wanda Scarlet Witch, who's X-Men adjacent. Aurora is an Avenger. She is obviously one of the principal X-Men. So there's just a lot of coincident relationships already. So I thought that was fun, and I liked it. And Valerio Schiti was the artist on this. This is what he was doing right before he started doing the Doom book. I thought that was fun. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And like, I just thought the personalities read well. It was a little heavy-handed with the Beast stuff because Beast went, as we've talked about, he during the Krakoa stuff, like he went evil, full evil, and then because of somewhat of a MacGuffin, but it's comics, so hey, whatever. He's now back to his younger, pure self, like non-evil self, which is good. I'm glad to see it, but a little heavy-handed there when they deal with that. But overall, I thought that was fun. The next arc is super fun. It's a heist caper, literally. Most if not all of Jed McKay's now 2-year or now almost 3-year run has been dealing with which I thought was super hot fire, the one shot that we got setting all this up, where they encounter Kang, and Kang tells them about the tribunal events that they have to deal with, basically the tribulations that they're going to have to deal with, these major world-ending catastrophes they need to help stop, and that's what really each arc has kind of been about. in this case, they have to. They are attempting to acquire an artifact that would answer this question that's been ongoing, which is that when they had this all set up, Kang explained to them that there was this one moment of time that is completely locked from everyone's visage. There's no record of it, and he himself cannot access it, and he figures there's a reason for that. And the Avengers believe that if they could figure out that moment of time and figure out what happens in it, it would help them understand and stop these tribulations. So they get word that the Grandmaster, good old Elder of the Universe Grandmaster, has this artifact that he stole from Kang, and so the Avengers decide to put on a heist, going to the Grandmaster's cosmic casino and stealing this artifact. And it's just a lot of fun, man. It's like Ocean's 11 meets Avengers. It's super fucking fun, ridiculous, over the top, like great. And as with any good heist, it doesn't go as planned because lo and behold, Kang himself is there trying to steal it back too, and he's enlisted the help of none other than Felicia Hardy, aka Black Cat. Who is really like Jed McKay's love. Like she is everywhere with him.
That's his character.
My God, that's his muse, dude. Yeah, but just super fun, man. Like super fun, and I thought it was, I love heist capers, so it was cool, man. And I gotta say that Fareed Karami is the artist on that art, and I liked his art. I liked his art a lot. So 2 thumbs up for that arc. And I thought most of the interactions of the characters were cool and seemed relatively on brand. I was here for it. I was definitely here for it. And then we get then things not necessarily take a turn per se, but like go a little bit like because it's one world under doom, right? So you get the inevitable, like you kind of going along in a book you like, and then it's like, oh, here we go, it's over. And in this, it's like, here's what I like about it. Basically, they create a new version of the, which I'm here for. Love the Masters of Evil, classic Avengers, villain group, and I really thought that this was a fun concoction. It's Mr. Hyde, it's Obelette, Dread Knight, Madcap, and who am I missing? And the Mad Thinker is the leader. So I'm here for that. It was fun. Where it gets a little wonky is for reasons, I guess, related to the one world under doom. At some point, it becomes Sam Cap versus the Masters of Evil, like just by himself. And I'm here for that, but like I feel like Jed McKay was really fucking up Sam Cap's like whole like persona. Like at one point, he's like looking up and he's like, I don't know if I'm good enough to be an Avenger. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what? I'm like, you're fucking Captain America, dog. Like, what are you talking about? Like, it just felt like he was writing like a 20-year-old Sam Wilson, like still trying to. It just so it felt weird, but again, like I didn't mind it. Like I minded that part, but I didn't like overall. I thought it was just super fun, a fun team of villains, and ultimately, Mad Thinker puts on a super adaptoid battle armor suit. So it's like he becomes a super adaptoid, which I thought that was just stupid and fun and comics should be ridiculous. I liked it. I liked it. I thought it was neat. There's Skeety does the art in the beginning of it, which looks hot, but then another artist takes over, and I thought that artist was pretty weak sauce, which was a little bit of a bummer because I was vibing with it otherwise. Artist's name is Andrea Ricardo. Wasn't really feeling Andrea's art, but overall though, fun stuff. So yeah, like I said, this is it's not like breaking new ground per se, but like it was fun. And then we go back to the more traditional Kang story for a bit, which I liked, and then where it really kind of like loses me, and this is a me thing, is the last arc, so like 30 through 32. They are heading back to Battle World, aka where the Secret Wars happened, which is cool. I'm here for that. But like, I don't get Malako Man. I don't get Beyonder. No. I get the fucking Marvel zombies. And if there's one thing in the last 20 years of Marvel that I have no interest in, further down the list than the symbiotes, frankly, is the Marvel zombies. I've never been interested. I like my zombie books as my zombie books. I like my Marvel books as my Marvel books. I don't know why. I don't think they need to be combined.
Never the twain shall
So I'm
meet.
not really here for Marvel zombies redux. That's not my vibe. So that kind of like made me feel eh. And then we get like, I should have mentioned that Black Panthers, remember, the team has been gone for a lot of this year. He comes back, and then we get this whole sort of elevation of this Mirrodin situation. Mirrodin is this futuristic take on Merlin, and he has his own group of futuristic Knights of the Round Table. Had a little bit of Camelot 3000 vibe, which I know would have made Vince puke. And like, again, it was cool. It was cool, but I thought the art was uneven. Some of the art was fire, some wasn't. That's the nature of these books these days, right? Because they have rotating artists. And then you find out that Mirrodin is yet a alter ego for Kang, right? Because as we know, he's been a Tuma, right? He's been Kang has been many different characters, and Mirrodin is another Kang, and as we've seen over the years before, Kang has somehow created an offshoot of himself who's now like an adversary of his, or at least seems that way. So interesting stuff. Very Avengers centric with a lot of these ideas. Kang is a classic Avengers villain. There being multiple versions of Kang at opposite purposes is a classic Avengers trope. I like the team. Like I very much like the Vision and Scarlet Witch and Sam and Carol and Aurora and Tony and T'Challa. They're some of my favorite Avengers of all time. So like, I'm here for that. So there was a lot I liked. I think, but the art and some of the pacing and the One World Under Doom forced crossover was a little bit weaker sauce. So I'd give this like a solid like B minus. So like, if you're an Avengers fan, worth your time. But this isn't like X-Men Krakoa era where we were trying to like actively recruit all of you non-X-Men regulars back into the world. I'm not going to tell you this is the time if you're not an Avengers regular back in. But I enjoyed it more than I expected to, honestly, going in. So, in your travels, if you miss the Avengers and are a big enough Avengers fan that you have relatively low expectations, join me in checking out The Last Year.
I like it.
Yeah. It's good, It's like, again, like that's the theme of tonight. It's good.
It's good.
Like,
yeah.
It's not super hot fire, but it's good. It's good.
Maybe that'll be the show notes. It's good. Question.
Well, it does kind of say though, like there is some truth to absence makes a heart grow fonder, right? Like,
oh yeah,
like with characters you like.
Yep.
Because I was thinking about this like 2 weeks ago. I was gushing about the Real American Hero, and it's like, if you just, maybe that's the secret. Maybe part of our jadedness is that we read these characters for so fucking long with such consistency, nothing feels fresh and surprising. And maybe the answer is to simply let them stack up. Let them stack up for 6 months to a year. And then when you read them, you're going to be a little more forgiving, which is how I mean, at least I am. I'm like a little more forgiving. Like because the stuff that would bother me, I don't feel like I'm actively looking to nitpick. I'm like, oh, that's okay. Cause like there's other stuff going on. Okay. I'm like, this is fine. Like, so maybe that's the trick. Just when you start feeling like these things are irking you, just let them be, and then come back to them.
I like that. That works.
Yeah. Words to live by, Dap.
That's right.
So how many more days of work you got? I feel like you're almost done for the year, right?
I have next week and...
Oh, you got all of the week. Okay.
Yeah, I've got... I got until Monday the 15th is my last day in the office and my last day of work for the year.
My lovely wife and I are heading into the city tomorrow. She's doing a live Peloton taping.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Excited. Yeah.
What's the occasion?
No, they like pinged her like she got a thing, which I'm kind of pissed about that I didn't get a thing. But like they just said, hey, you want to come do it? You want to be part of a live ride?
Oh, who's really? Like, I mean, who's gonna? they're going to get more viewers based on. I mean, come on.
All right, well, maybe so, but I was like, damn, okay, but no, yeah. So she
I feel you
jumped
though.
at the chance, but
Yeah.
so I'm not participating, but I'm going with her. Like, they said your like spouse, family can like chill in the lobby, like in the
Yep.
in the lounge while you do your class. So yeah, we're gonna go in. She's gonna do her class, and then do the
Is that
photo
down
op and
over by
stuff, and
Hudson
then
Yards?
yeah,
Okay.
and then we're gonna since we're gonna be there, we're gonna go and see the tree because it got lit this week, and we're gonna go check out the Christmas village and maybe have dinner and just make a night of it.
Love it.
Yeah.
I think. Well, tomorrow I'm planning on hitting the gym after work because I haven't been there since Monday, so I'm due. But yeah, tomorrow working from home, and I'll just I'll just I'll just chill. We don't have much planned for the weekend, thankfully. Yeah, just kind of just taking it easy. So no, I'm stoked though. That's awesome for Beth. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And yeah, and we had our IT holiday luncheon today.
Word. What kind of lunch?
It wasn't the kind of spread that we used to have. But I mean, normally we'll have like chicken francaise and the salads and the whole but there will be decent portions. There will be like full sheets of food. This time felt like there were a lot of quarter or half sheets. There wasn't a lot of baked ziti. There wasn't a lot of eggplant parmesan, but there was a ton of rice. There was a ton of baked chicken. There was some salad. I didn't bake anything. I was told not to. All right, I was told I didn't have to, which was fine because this way, if I don't bake anything, then they're not going to linger around the house, and so I'm happy about that. But there was a coworker in my office who Pags is diabetic, and whenever I would bake the brownies for the wrestling pay-per-views, that's like he'd practically starve himself and not eat dinner because he knew the brownies were there. So he's just so he came. He works the weekends, but he came in today for the party. I let him know that I was told I didn't have to bake anything, so I'm not. But since my last day is a Monday, and he works Mondays, next weekend I think I will bake some brownies for the office, and this way I'll leave them there, and this way I don't have to worry about eating any. But Pags can get his brownies for Christmas, and everybody can be happy. Apparently the brownies are a hit. Folks like when I don't brag. I don't when it comes to my baking, I let others talk. If they ask for it again, then I know I did something right. So I'm not trying to say that these are the best brownies you'll ever have. But enough people seem to enjoy them where I don't mind baking them for them. So that'll be my gift to the office. But yeah, I'm just trying to get through the next week, and then I ain't thinking about that place until the first Friday of the new year, and I plan on hopefully doing a lot. I want to read, and I want to reorganize. I want to rearrange my office, the room where we're recording from right now, because it's a mess. There's books everywhere. There's piles of things everywhere, and it's feeling a little claustrophobic. So I have some cleaning to do.
All right, respect.
Thank you for listening, everybody. We love you all. You could have been listening to anything else, but you've been putting up with us for the past almost 2 hours. So yeah, we appreciate you all. Thanks for listening. We will be back next week. At least two of us. Hopefully you'll hear from our third. We're gonna give him shit when we wrap up here tonight, and that's that. But yeah, thank you, everybody. We will talk to you soon. Go read book, enjoy it, and love you all.
No doubt. Oh, and the first iteration of the best of meta list is coming this week if you're a patron. So
There we go. That's what's up. That's worth the that's worth the patronage.
That's worth the shekels. Yeah.
Yes. Later, y'all.
That's it for that one.